Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we're going to work on a necklace using our bargain bead box for, I think this is September still, Mystic Moonrise. I had gotten a pendant from the sister site and decided it would be gorgeous with these, so we're going to design something around it. So let's turn down and do so. Now I haven't really decided what I want to do yet. I figure I'm not going to use those. Maybe not this pendant, because we're going to use the other one I purchased. We are going to use these. Maybe these. Not the moons. I doubt if I'm going to use a toggle, but I might. You never can tell what I'm going to do here. I'm actually sort of looking for the pendant because I know I dropped it in here. Yes, here it is. So it just happened to be the copper, like the regular one, and lapis, which even though I'm not sure we have any lapis in here, I think it will go really gorgeous with it. Well, actually, I think this is matte lapis. Yeah, it is. So we might put some of the matte lapis in as well. I don't think I'm going to use these, even though I love them. I think with the bigger beads, they are going to disappear sort of into the sunset. So not the stars. Not sure about chain. Could put some little things in. I do have some antique copper spacers I can use if I need to. So let's get some of these things out and we'll sort of try and come up with some idea of what I want to do. I would normally put a different bail than this one on it, but I do not have, I do not believe I have any copper bells. Well, I do, but I'm not overly fond of them. I will show you what I mean. There they are. Oh, come on, open up. Sometimes these baggies just do not want to open. So anyway, they look like this. Well, maybe I like it better though than this one, so maybe we will use it. So we'll switch our bail to this one. I'm not sure about leaves, unless I decide to put one, like using some chain in the back and put it in the back. So we'll switch our bell out to this one. I do want to use these. Now I have 5. I don't know why I have 5. I used some in earrings, but I would have thought I would have had some more. But we're definitely going to use these up the edges here. I really like these. I think they're pretty. Wish that they had extras when we did when their extras came out, but I didn't see any. So now we need to put a bead strand between these. And I'm thinking of labradorite. Oh, good gracious, baggies, open up tonight. I'm not sure I've used any labradorite yet, so they might, oh, obviously I have, because there comes some piling out. Thinking. Now, of course, we'll probably put some more in here. So I'll get a couple more out. At least 2 more, because they'll want to go on either side up there. I think I want some larvikite also. I think I'll just take it off of this one strand and leave it here. The other half can go back in the baggie because I'm not sure that I'm going to want even that many. So I'm trying to decide how we want to do this. Now this is pretty, but we need some color. And I don't know if I want to use these guys, because even though they are lapis, they're matte. And so they really don't pull the color of our lapis stone in because, well, I wish they weren't matte. I wish they were regular, but we'll use those for something different. I don't think we're going to use those on our necklace here. We'll probably use the blue glass and maybe the tiny labradorite. So let's, oh, and we also have our English cut here. So I'm thinking the blue glass. No, because that actually looks more like the lapis in our pendant than the two here, two here. Now, even though these are also matte, they do not, it doesn't dull their color, which is what I don't like about the matte with the others. The color is dulled down from having the so. I don't think I'm going to use any of these little blue agates. And I just really don't have enough left of these. It would only, there's only enough here in my baggie to cover 1, 2, 3, 4 beads. So 1, 2, 3, 4 wouldn't get the other side. So we will put these aside. We probably will use some of these. Now I need something for the other side of our larvikite because they're flat on this, they're flat on their sides. So I want something to offset that flatness some. So do I want them here on either side? That is the question. I'm thinking we might be putting too much neutral colors together here by putting these in here as well. Now that's better, but I still then have the larvikites on the end. We do have the tiny labradorite we could put there with a spacer here in front. Let's get a few out, see what that looks like. No, I don't want the strand, I just want the beads. So go in here, back in, back in. Don't want you getting lost. Okay, so now one of the things is it depends on how long of a strand we want to make here, of course. And we don't have a lot of these. Let's see, 1, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. We have about 20. So the decision then has to be made, where are we going to put these at if we do all this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We could go between right here with them, but then I need to find some other copper spacers to go between these other things. And if I wanted to, instead of putting them here, I could get a different copper spacer for here, leave the tiny labradorites out, and put a spacer and then the copper one right here at the end, just as a sort of, no, I don't think so. I like it better in here between the English cut and this blue, I think. So I'm going to have to go search out some more spacers and we'll see what we want to do. But I am thinking I don't want to use the tiny labradorites. They're going to get hidden in the project unless I were to you know, put more than one here. And I think I'm getting my strand big enough that I don't really need to add more. So let's put those away. And like I said, I'm not sure about these. So we will put these things over to the side. And I'm going to go search out some copper spacers. And I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, I've got some daisy spacers and some flower spacers here. And so I'm just going to dump a few of these out. And we're going to go along and see what we like best with things. Set these aside for right now. And I'm going to string up this one strand here, and I forgot these to have 2 different sizes in them, so I have to be careful of that. It looks like there's only a few large ones here, so okay. So I'm going to get some blue lapis beading line. Actually, you know, I may just go with black. Blue lapis is very pretty, but it's not really quite the color of our pieces we're working on. So I think black actually just might work better because of all the larvikite and the labradorite and larvikite. So here's some black lapis, or black onyx soft flex medium wire. I'm just going to pull out a length here and put a bead stopper on. And then I'm going to string one of these strands up so we can see sort of what it looks like. I think we'll go with this small one of the daisies, and then a large one. Since we do have some large, I'll have to get some more out of there. See if I've got enough. And then that will put a nice sizer here between. And then it will go to one of the flowery ones, I think, for the blue. I almost think I need another daisy spacer there, but we'll see. Cap. Come here, Cap. There you are. Now, here is the spot over here where I said I think it needed, where are you coming from? A little bit more right here beside the larvikite. So I don't know if I have how many more of these larger daisy spacers I have though, but because that would works better, I think. I do like it better than this side over here. Though actually, since we're going to hook this up here right now, maybe we do want to put that little labradorite in there. Let's... Working with these tiny beads can be such a problem because their hole is really hard to find. So yeah, that would work fine, and then we will crimp it to this piece, and then we'll go on with the rest. We'll put a little labradorite here. I don't think it will go into my bail because it's got a small hole. No, it won't. So it will sit beside it just fine. And then we'll hook on our pendant here. So I think I like that. I've got to see if I can find more of the larger daisy spacers though. Either that or a smaller one so that we can use this one in this spot. So let's see if we, how many, there isn't going to be enough, I don't think, of the large spacers though. Because that's the last of this style I have. Oh, here's one more in the pile here. Here's another. Now that's not going to cut it. That's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We needed one more in here if we're going to do that. And that is 4 per, so 6 is not going to That would only be one more bead strand, so that won't work. So I need to, maybe we don't even have a whole bunch of these. I'm gonna have to give it some thought. I wonder if I took this off and put another flower bead cap. Oops, left that on. Take you out. Just put another flower on here, if that would work all right. Even though the bead won't sink into it, it'll sit beside it. That will work. That will work, I think. I still do not have enough to do 1, 2, 3, 4. I would need, I think, 2 more to do what I was thinking of doing on the sides here with the larger one and then the smaller one. What did I do with that large one? I think I dumped it in here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I have the 2 here. So that would be 6. So 3 more strands and it won't cut it. So I still am going to have to find something else to replace this larger size of daisy spacer, even if I do put the double cap on here, which is cute. I like that, so I probably will. I'm gonna put these large ones out of here so I don't get them mixed up with my small ones again. And I'm going to see if I can find, I don't think I'd have enough of the small ones to do a double daisy spacer on the other side here. So well, let's see how it looks with just the one and the labradorite here. That looks all right, so I think we could take the big ones out entirely. So I think our bead strand is going to look like this, other than this side's going to have another of the flower bead caps and have that big one out and a little labradorite in there. So that's how we're going to do our strands. So I've brought out some crimp tubes, and I'm going to crimp this one side onto here. Well, maybe not yet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, this is going to be our bottom strand, which is going to go from side to side with a pendant hanging on it. So what I'm going to do is put the bail on, and then I'm going to repeat this pattern until we get to here, because we've got to change this right here. And then we can crimp it to the one side, and then we will, oops, I thought I had the hole, but I didn't. Come on, where are you at? There we go. Bing. So then it's a daisy spacer, larvikite, the double bead cap, one facing either direction. Come on, go on. Now I will tell you that I doubt very, very strongly if our wire will double back to go through our larvikite, our little teeny labradorites twice. So we will probably have to cut it off right at the crimp tube. Now if I had used smaller bead strands, I might have considered doing a using wire instead of beading wire, regular wire. But I did do a larger bead strand, and so decided that that would not work. Got the larvikite, the blue, the English cut, the labradorite, the English cut. Now we're back to our Saturn bead and our blue. Then we'll go with the double bead caps, one this direction, one the other direction, our larvikite, then the bead cap, the little tiny labradorite. That's correct, right? Let's see. No bead cap on this side, just a daisy spacer. And the tiny labradorite. Come on, baby, where's your hole? There we go. So let's compare. Remember, this is not the proper spot. So we've got our tiny labradorite here, daisy spacer, larvikite, double bead cap, blue, Saturn, English, the bead caps around the labradorite, back to the English cut, the Saturn, the blue, the double bead cap, the larvikite, and then our little daisy spacer and labradorite. So we need to change this side, but this is the first strand with our pendant going down right here. So we can cut this off right here because we have enough here. And we can hook this up to this piece here on this side. And like I said, we're going to not be able to go through that labradorite, I'm sure, the baby labradorite. So we're going to have to push this up to where we want it to be. Make sure our lines aren't crossing. They are, so we'll fix that. We want to give it a little bit of space so we have some movement here, and then we're going to crimp this baby. So we'll put the crimping pliers right on it and squish and turn and squish and just keep turning and squishing till it doesn't want to squish anymore, and that's about where we're at, it looks like. Then, like I said, I doubt very strongly if this will go in here a second time. No, it's too small. So what you need to do is take your clippers, roll them straight up the line until they connect with your crimp bead, then cut it off. So then we'll slide this back over to this side. And we're going to fix this side over here by taking off these, putting on the bead cap, then the larvikite, the smaller daisy spacer since we don't have enough of the larger, and then we need to get a tiny labradorite. Find this baby's hole. Easier said than done. There we go. Now we'll get another crimp tube. And there's our first bit. We need to get our space, our connector here. Now, as you can see, I have more line than I really needed, but that's all right. Better too much than not enough. And it's a real pain to have to try and put it on when there's not enough, or to crimp the piece. So pull this up, check to see how we're going with the other side. That's about the same there. Maybe a little bit smaller, but not much. Make sure it'll bend. We got enough space for a bend. Oop, go up there, guys. And then we're going to crimp this right here. Now we get our crimp tube right in the middle of our divot and squish, and turn and squish, and keep doing that turn and squish until it doesn't squish anymore. So there we go. Now, I didn't say it, but you need to, of course, be aware of that your connectors are going the same direction. So let's get this baby cut. So we'll take our flush cutters, roll right up this line, just like we did with the others. Stop doing that. And we'll go straight up till the crimp tube, till we bang against it, and then clip the extra wire. So there is our first piece, and like I say, we're just going to make these same patterns up the side to the others. And this side is where, what I do with our pendant, here it is over here. It's going to hook on right here at the bottom. And I think it's going to turn out really pretty. I have to apologize for my fingers and fingernails. I was painting pieces for my for some hair barrettes, and so I've got paint all over my fingers. So we want to make up our next row here, and we'll do it just the same as the others. I'm going to clip this on. The only difference is I'm not going to put the bail in and go all the way. We just need from here to here. So we'll start with the tiny labradorite, a small daisy spacer, larvikite. You're not a larvikite. You're a larvikite. I think I pushed all the larvikite over to the other side. So then we have our bead caps here. I need to get some more out, obviously. The blue. The Saturn. Oops, not a English cut. So we're just going down the line like so. The English cut. The bead cap, and now we're out of bead caps, so I need to pour some more out here. Oop. Might not need that many, but better too many than not enough. Our labradorite, bead cap. So we're like right here. Now we're at the English cut again. Our Saturn. Oh, there's more in the package. I was going to say, am I going to have enough Saturn? But there's more in the package, so it's not a problem. The blue. The double bead cap. One going towards the blue, one going away. 1, 2. The larvikite. The daisy. come here, Daisy. And the tiny labradorite. It's funny, you'd think that these would be as easy with when they're sitting on the mat as a seed bead is, but it's really not. For some reason, the gemstones like to hide their hole. So we'll get this side and we'll put it on the next connector. Now I'm doing it this way because then I'll cut the line off after I get this side done, and we'll connect it to the original connector that we have down there. Make sure the lines aren't crossed. Bring her up. We'll go in here and crimp. Okay, now we'll take our flush cutters and slide them right up to that crimp tube and snap the wire off. Now we can roll these beads to this side. Now I'm going to move this while I cut the line off this side. So there's our next connection. It's going to go right here. So we're going to get another crimp tube. Make sure you're sitting properly here. Put it on this side. Come on, baby, through. There we go. Now we want to go onto here. Now I'm making sure that when I turn this around here, this is going the same direction. So pull that baby up. Make sure our lines aren't crossed. Get our crimping pliers and crimp this right here. So now we'll slide the flush cutters up to the crimp tube. All the way up as tight as you can get it, and then snap it off. So there is so far on this side. Now we're going to do the other side, and then we'll do one more bunch up to the back where we're going to probably make our connection. I'm not sure how long it's going to be. These strands are pretty long, so let's see if we can find our ruler here. What did I do with the ruler? Well, Hector. Don't find the ruler, but I do find my tape measure. So we will just measure from here to the bail is not quite 8 inches. So by the time we get this other strand in, which is 2.5 inches, it will be long enough that we can end it. So we won't need the chain. And I'm not sure if I'm going to use a toggle at the back or not. So let's go over here. We're going to go to the other side now and do this next piece here to do the connector, because we need to get this section done, and then we finish with the last. So let's get this section going. And I'll probably fast forward these last 3 sections because, you know, it's the same bead pattern. We've got it all beaded now. Now the one thing I don't like about doing it this way is that your connectors sometimes like to flip, and the wire will need to be hung for a while so that it stays more consistent. But we will measure this baby, and I think it's going to be, my guess is about 20 inches. Yep, that's about what it is right now. From the bail to the end is just a teeny bit over 10, so about 10 and a quarter. So we're about 20 and a half right now. Once we put on our hardware up here, we're going to be at least 20. I mean 21. Maybe even 22. But we do also need to put our bail on still, so that's our last 2 steps. Put on the bail and put on the clasp. So let's get you flipped right. Like I say, that is the one thing that can be irritating, is that our connectors can flip, and we don't like that. So the first thing I'm going to do, of course, is take off this bail that I don't really care for, which is not a hard thing to do because it's just a push. And then we're going to get a jump ring out, and we're going to connect our pretty pendant to our necklace. Now I have antique coppers, so that's not going to be a difficulty. They're right here. I will actually put out 3. Now that's a lot more than 3, so that we can put jump rings at the ends as well. And I could just crimp those on right now before we do anything else, but we're just going to open this up and put our pendant on. So now these are mediums. You could go with a large if you wanted to. I like my pendant to be a little closer to its bell, so I go for the medium size. Now, if you're worried this crimp wouldn't be strong enough, you can always, if there's room, you can always, not crimp, but jump ring. You could always double jump ring it, which I have done before, just to be on the safe side. And there's probably room, so I think we'll get one more of these, and we'll see if there's enough room to double jump ring it. We will double jump ring the pendant onto here. So okay. So now what I didn't do is pay attention to the fact that did I put this bail on the right way, because our connectors have to be facing the same direction as our pendant, of course. These things keep wanting to twist. It drives me nuts when it does that. And sometimes you have to play with the wire a little bit to get it to decide it wants to go the way you want it to. So there's our pendant on. Like I said, I guess we're going the right way. So now we'll go up to the other end, and I needed a couple more crimp tubes out because I just had enough to do. Looks Let's see, what are we doing here, guys? And we'll, of course, need one more, not only some crimp tubes, but we'll also need another jump ring out. You know, this is sort of heavy, so what I'm thinking of doing is getting out a couple more of these blue beads right here, or I could use the English cut as well, and double crimping the top up here. Now, that's not a hard thing to do. What you got to do is, we'll just have we need 4 crimps, but and then we're going to put a bead between 2 crimps. Now, if you're doing it this way, you have to remember that you have to go through the middle bead with your wire, because you got to make it to that second crimp. So it has to be a bead that will go through, the wires will go through twice. So it cannot be one of the baby labradorites because they're not big enough. The hole is just too tiny. So what we're going to use, which one am I going to grab first? Looks like the blues. So we will get a couple of the blues out. There we go. And I just arbitrarily just decided whatever came out first was what's going to be our piece here. So we'll just put on 1 crimp tube, then the blue bead, another crimp tube. Let it drop down, come through both. Now, of course, as you recall, it won't go through that labradorite, which is just dandy fine, but we do need to pull it up, and we'll put we don't need to put the jump ring on right away, so I'm not going to worry about it. We need to do this crimp first, and the reason for that is we do not want to go too tight on the top one so that we can't get into the groove to do this one, because you see we have to go inside. Get down here. Get down here. Because, of course, we've got to get down to our little labradorite as much as possible. So we're going to want to pull that up. And if we have a bigger loop on this end, well, we're going to have a bigger loop on this end. So make sure you're relatively tight here to your next bead here. And then do your crimp and turn and crimp and turn and crimp. Now we're going to cut that wire off. Oops, I didn't get it close enough. See what happens when you don't snag up close enough? You get this piece right here hanging up. So we're going to want to get our flush cutters in there again, get her up to it, and trim it off. There we go. Now, like I said, this loop is going to be bigger than I would normally have it because I've let it get bigger. But this is going to be at the very back. This is where we're going to put our jump rings to hang our clasp on, so that's all right. Oops, I got that down there too far, made it ugly crimp. Let's see if I can pull it up just a hair's breadth so that we can get in here a little better. Now we have to decide, are we going to go with the toggle or not? If we're not going to go with the toggle, then we can just jump. If we are going to go with the toggle, we can just jump ring one side on right now. And if we're not, we need to decide what we're going to go to. But next, we're going to just do the other side, and we're going to do it exactly the same. And we got to remember that we left a pretty good sized loop on this side, so we want to do the same when we get over here. We do want our pieces to be consistent. So through here, through our second, and through the third. So now we'll pull this up, push it down, pull it up again. Now we want to check and see how much room we have here when we put this crimp on, because like I said, it's got to have enough room to get in to do the our crimp here, but we don't want an excessive lot of room. So let's get in here. We need to push this down some. It's too close to the blue bead. It won't let us get into the middle of our crimp tube, into the middle of our divot there. So we'll push that blue bead up some as we come down here and squish and turn and squish. Okay, we've got this on. So now we want to take and just cut our wire off. Now we've got to get up here with this one. Now we've got a slightly smaller loop than the other side, but I'm going to live with that. And so we get in here and we do our crimp up here. And again, it's sunk into the blue bead some, and it wants to be an ugly crimp, but that's the way it goes some days. So I'm going to hold it while I finish crimping here. See if our crimp is pretty tight. Yeah, it is. So there is our necklace. We just need to put on our would you stop? We just need to put on our finishing touches, which of course is our clasp. So I've got one jump ring out. We'll of course need another one. And decide if we're going to use those toggles or if we're going to use a lobster claw or something like that. I think I would prefer a lobster claw than the toggles. When I use a toggle, I like the bar to have a bend in it so that it snugs around the toggle itself, you know, the female part. And this one does not. And so I'm not going to use these, but we are going to get a lobster out. And I'm fairly positive I have some antique copper lobsters. We'll check, and we'll get a larger jump ring. When I'm using a lobster claw, I like to have a relatively good sized jump ring as well, because I tried to use a bigger lobster claw. So we need that sizing. So let's find those and I'll be ready. So we have this large jump ring and we have a lobster claw here. So we will put the jump ring on the one side. And we'll put the lobster claw on the other side, and we can put back one of our jump rings. I think that even though I made a big enough loop that I could have double double jump ringed this. I do not believe that the loop in the lobster claw is big enough. Oh, I forgot to test this lobster claw. We'll have to do that. Luckily, if it isn't working properly, I do have it on a jump ring. So if it isn't, we can just change it out. It seems to be working all right. So there we go. Our necklace is finished. Like I said, this one wants to flip. I'm going to have to play with that a bit to keep it from flipping on that side. But, oh, now this side's flipping over here. So we'll have to play with my wires some to make sure that they want to sit straight. But there is our necklace all done. Isn't that pretty? I really like this pendant that I got from the sister site. I think it works perfectly with the beads. So here we go. Here is our finished necklace. Isn't that pretty? Only problem I'm having with it, like I said, is that the one side wants to flip. And it's funny because it's this one on this side and that one on that side. So anyway, we'll have to set it down against a bust so it can get it more evenly wanting to sit down. But there is our necklace. Isn't that gorgeous? And as I said, it's about, well, with the extra length here, we've probably got another inch here, so it's probably about 21 and a half inches. Nope, the other way. I said the other way. So like I said, the flipping of the little connectors is the only thing that I have a problem with, and it is naturally doing that because the wire wants to twist a little bit. But we can get that to go straight by letting it lay down for a while, and it should be fine. There's our necklace. Isn't it gorgeous? I think it turned out really pretty. I hope you enjoyed making it with me. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and we'll see you later. Again, there it is. Oh, and I forgot to mention, beads are from Mystic Moonrise, the September Bargain Bead Box, and the pendant is from the sister site, Bead Box Bargains. Isn't it gorgeous? We'll see you later. Bye-bye.